In this video, I'm going to be making a hammer holder that's attached to the stand for my belt sander. It's going to be very similar to a build Jimmy DiResta did, where he cut up some round pipe. In my case, I'm doing square. Let's go. So this is a 2-inch square piece of tubing. It looks like it's about a, I don't know, maybe a little over an 1/8, 3/16 thickness maybe. This is my main hammer that I want to hold, and I confirm that it does fit nicely down in this. So Jimmy DiResta actually has a video where he took some round pipe and cut it up. He actually cut 2 short lengths, welded those 2 up, and then he used a chop saw to cut it up. I think I'm gonna weld each one individually because we're only gonna get about 6 of these, but I'm using squares so I can make an L around the base of this because it's 6-inch square tubing. 3 on each side, and then maybe a 7th one. So I might be able to have 7 hammers on this rig here. I've always been told you're not supposed to stop your angle grinder by putting it on a workpiece, but what's it really gonna hurt? So here's our 2-inch square tubing all cleaned up. So I think I might do them maybe a little over a 1/4 inch, maybe 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch. Let's do 3/4 inch. Reset. Go ahead and use some soapstone. Actually get decent measurements out of this. So I messed that last one up. That's why we're resetting here. Let's go ahead and do 3/4 inch cuts. I'm not accounting for the thickness of my saw blade, but that is a-okay. It's just got to hold some hammers, right? All right, I'm gonna got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's stop on this one. If you're wondering why I shake so much, it's actually because I have what's called essential tremors. It's some, I guess you'd call it a disorder, where the synapses or my nerves just fire in a weird way that causes me to shake. My mom had it, my grandpa had it. It's hereditary. Let's cut all these up on the Evolution saw. I always like to check my 90. All right. We're in the money. I don't really know if there's supposed to be that many sparks. I think a cold cut saw is not supposed to have that many. So I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. Our screw came off of our Evolution handle here. Let me get a screwdriver. I guess it wasn't tight when it came from Evolution. I don't know. All right, she's tight now. Let's clean these up real quick. So the outside diameter of each of these is 2.5, and my square is 6 inches. So that's not gonna work perfectly. They may have to hang over slightly, which I'm okay with. So we're gonna have 3 on this side. That looks pretty cool. I think that'll work. I'm wondering if I need to put a standoff. I think I'm gonna need to put a standoff to keep this out away from the actual 6-inch square, because what's gonna happen is I'm gonna try to put my hammers in, and the 6-inch square wall is gonna be right beside that. So they're gonna have to be sideways, and I'm only gonna be able to use every other one with my hammers. Whereas if we pull it out, we'll be able to turn them around a little bit. Yeah, I like that plan. Let's do that. So I have a couple of tabs. Now I do have this nasty old angle iron that we could set up square, but it just need to be 6 and 6. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Let's cut this out. So I'm probably gonna weld it right here. Those will stand out a little bit. Yes, I like that. So we're gonna cut it off right here and then again over here. And then we're gonna make an L, and that's gonna sit just inside of this L. Snug up against that. It's gonna get us a little bit of an offset for our hammers to drop down in. Should be good. Uh-oh, we threw a belt or a band. Man, stuff always goes wrong. See if we can break this off. We almost finished it. There we go. It's going in the trash. I didn't plan that out very well. I guess we're not gonna butt them up in the corner. We're just gonna weld them on like that. Let's clean these up. Meow. Bound chickle. Wow. Doesn't sound like any leaks. C25.035 wire, 3.5. If any of you are using this welder, make sure, if you're setting the settings manually, make sure this middle knob is turned to the manual position. It will mess you up all the time if you don't. So I just leave mine in the manual position, and then I set my voltage and my wire feed rate. Let's do some welding. All right, so I'm gonna back the camera up, try to save my sensor from welding. So I'll just have to kind of tell you what I'm doing here. Guess I have the big square magnets. I'm gonna use these big square magnets. This big square magnet has a long enough flat side, and it is just, that's not gonna work. All right, I'm gonna clamp my straight edge down so I can use it as a stop and slide each of those squares up to it. My workpiece is getting a little hot. Gotta find my welding gloves. I was making sure to go back and forth. So when you put weld on one side, it has a tendency to draw that way. So if you do the second side rapidly, it'll pull that way and then it'll pull it back. Whereas if you don't, it'll pull it that way, cool, and then it'll be kind of stuck in that position even if you go back and weld on the other side. So I was just trying to counter that. It looks like it's still got a little wobbly. All right, let's take an angle grinder and clean this up. And then we'll put those angle pieces on. Ow. Man, those extend way past it. That's all right. I think it'll work. It's actually going to be offset this way, so it won't extend quite as much with those angles on it. Get my other welding glove. Don't want to burn myself. How about all them Teslas getting burned up? All those people vandalizing the Teslas. That's crazy stuff. I heard about one that blew up, I think it was in Las Vegas, blew up because somebody set it on fire maybe. So this is kind of what I'm looking at, but instead, I really want the flat portion to be on the square side. So it's gonna need to be offset 6 and 6, maybe? 6 and 6. I think think if I just make sure hey, that's a good way to do it. So we're just going to use this, assuming my workpiece here is square. Let's make sure it is. It's as square as I'm going to get. So let's just set these angles right here and here. We're going to have to break this one off. That broke off too easily. So I think as long as we use those like so, we take this being the top side and we overlap. Yeah, this didn't work out. It's got to be the other way around. It's got to be an inside corner, not an outside corner. We do have a fireball square though. Let's take all these tabs off. See if this inside corner can't get us where we need to be. All right, I'm using a 3-2-1 block to keep my angles square, and I think I might tack it up there. Frickin' thing just about ate it. So here's a trick. When you're doing real fine-tuned stuff, you really want to cut off the end or pinch off the end of your wire so you have good unoxidized wire on the end of this, so it'll create a spark right away instead of pushing into it. Just enough to keep it together. And I think if we make these just a tad inset, I could do fillet welds on the bottom. Cool. How does that look? It's not too shabby. I think that'll work. Let's test it out, and then we'll finish the welding. So I want hammers hanging on the back side and this side. This is the front. That side's the front. I'm gonna have my angle grinder on the front there. Cool. All right, let's weld this up and then weld it to the stand. Oh yeah. Okay, so the question is now, how high do I want to place this? That's exactly what I wanted. Oh yeah. Let's weld it up. Gotta clean the end of my gun out. Make sure we got enough gas to it. All right, let's weld her up. I'm gonna clean it up just a hair with the angle grinder and we should be good.